Hello everyone, you are welcome to this presentation. This is Dcit 205 presentation, and my name is Tutu Mawufemor. Okay, so this week we are going to talk about control functions, control. We are going to talk about them, know what they are, examples of them, their benefits to us. Yes. Okay, so without wasting time, let's start. So version control, also known as source control, is a practice of keeping track of changes and management and managing the changes in a software code. So version control is a practice of keeping track or tracking and managing the changes of a software code. So any practice that involves tracking and managing the changes that are made in a software code system is a version control. Okay. So version control system are software that helps software team manage changes of code, of source code over time. As development area have accelerated, version control system help software teams work faster and smarter. They are especially useful for default teams, since they help to reduce management time and increase successfully development over time. Okay, so I made mention of defaults. Let's know what a default is. Okay, so a default is a set of practices that combine software development and information technology operations to enable the rapid and continuous delivery of high quality software applications and services. So the default is a combination. It's a word that is formed from a combination of two words, So the dev is development, and ops is the information technology operation. Yes, and the goal of the default is to enable teams to collaborate more effectively and deliver software more quickly, reliable, and securely. So default emphasize automation, monitoring and testing throughout the software development lifecycle, from building and testing, deployment and maintenance. This allows the team to detect and address issues quickly, minimize downtime, and improve the overall quality of the software. Okay. So development practices include continuous integration and continuous delivery, infrastructure of the code development, automated testing, and continuous monitoring. So these practices are supported by a range of tools and technologies, including cloud computing platform with configurations to and management technologies. The benefits of default include faster time of market, improved quality and reliability, greater collaboration and communication between teams, increase agility, flexibility, better alignment and development and operation teams. So the control versions that we talk about is just to help team workers to work together. So as team workers developing a software, as time goes on, the software cannot be a rigid software that once it's developed, it will be like that till. But as time goes on, modifications and changes may arise. So what happens is that this control versions or version control helps us to keep track of any change that will be made, when it will be made, and where it has made, so that if anything or the software happens to crash at any version stage, it can be reversed to the previous version, and we can get track of how the software goes to that stage. So version control is just basically about that. So version control software, version control software keep track of every modification to the code in a specific kind of database. If a mistake is made, developers can run back to blog, compare earlier versions and the code, compare earlier versions of the code to help fix the mistake whilst minimizing disruption of all the team members. So that's just basically version control. Okay, so almost all software projects must be, or all software projects must be protected. So they must be protected for future reasons. So for most team softwares, a source code is a repository of an invaluable knowledge and understanding about the problem domain that the developers have collected and refined through a careful effort. So version control protects the source code from both catastrophe and casual degradation of human error. So software developers working in teams are continuously writing new source codes and changing existing source codes. The code for a project on an app or a software component is typically organized in a folder structure. So one developer in a team may be working on a new feature while another developing or fixing a bug in the code, and each developer may make their changes in a separate part of the free tree. So version control helps us that everybody or a group, a team of software engineers can work together, software developers can work together. So one person can be handling one part, another person can be handling another part, and at the end it will be collaborated together, and still the software will still run. So version control helps team solve these kinds of problem, tracking every individual change by each contributor and helping prevent co-current work from conflicting. So changes made in one part of the software can be incompatible to those made by another developer working at the same time. So these problems could be discovered and solved in an orderly manner without blocking the work of the rest of the team. So it helps us to work together, though at a point codes may be incompatible, but it helps us to track down the problem and still work together. So further, all the software developers, in all the software development, any change can contribute new bug. Any change can contribute to a new bug in its own way, and new changes can't be trusted until tested. So testing and development proceed together until a new version is ready to be deployed. So a good version control software supports a developer's workflow without imposing one particular way of working. So ideally, it's also work on any platform rather than dictate what operating system or tools change developers can use. So it should be flexible. The version control system should be flexible enough for a lot of people to work on the same software. So great version control systems facilitate a smooth and continuous flow of change to the code rather than frustrating of the file and locking. The software teams that do not use any version control often run into problems, like not knowing which change has been made available by the user, or question of incompatible changes between two unrelated pieces of work that must often be reworked on. So a software team that do not have any version control, that do not use any version control, will not by all means, but will end up running into a problem, because as a team, a lot of people are working on the same projects, and if we don't have any control system that keeps track of the changes made by every individual and the changes made by every individual, it may get to a point or a time that a change may be incompatible. Someone will create a code which may be incompatible, which will result in the software crashing. And because we don't have any track, we end up losing the whole data software system. So it is very, very, very risky. It is very, very risky to be a software team and to be working without a version control system. As a software team, even individual, it is advisable to work with a version control system, because changes that cannot be tracked over time may result in a huge problem, which will take a very long time to be tracked down, and this time wasted can affect your customers. So as a software team or as a software developer, it is very important for you to have a version control system. So if you are a software developer who has never used a version control, you may have added new versions to your file. Perhaps with prefixes like final or latest, and then had a later deal with a new version, and perhaps you have commented out a code because you want to disable certain functionalities without deleting the code. So you are working on a code, you want to just disable some functionalities about your software, but you don't want to delete it. So fearing that they may be useful later in the future. Then control version is the way out, because control versions is the only way you can keep track of the changes that you have made over and over and over again as time goes, as time passes in your lifetime as a software engineer. Because the things that you are adding or you may want to subtract, if you don't keep good backup of them or you don't keep track of them, you may end up losing all one day. Because once a software crashes, you are not able to track down the problem. You are not able to move to the previous version, to using the previous version before try to debug the current. Everything shuts down, and it's very bad as a software engineer. So version control is very good and advisable to use as a software engineer. Okay. So version control system is an essential part of every day of the modern software team's professional practice. Yes, it is very essential because in this modern days, to be a software team working together on a project and not having a version control, it's a big problem. It will be a very big problem to be a modern software team, to be a team who are working together on softwares. Yes, on softwares. And if you don't have a version control system, it is going to be a big problem that you may face one day, because one day when an incompatible code is being written and your system runs down, or your system crashes, or a bug pops up, you may happen to fall on a version control, which will give you the track down of how everything came to that stage. The version control is very essential. It's one of the essential things you need as a modern software developer, to be a professional software developer. One of the professional practices is to work with a version control system, because it is very it's very key to your success of your work. Otherwise, one day you may lose everything. You may lose everything. You may run an update which may crash, and you happen to lose everything. You can't go back to the former version that you were using before you updated the version, and everything crash. You can't track anything again, and you have to start the whole software from the scratch, which is going to be a very big problem, which will be time consuming. It will consume a whole, because you use a whole, software update is not something that is done just within weeks or over time. There are things that softwares that are run for so many years, and updates have been done as the years go by. And if you don't have any system that is keeping record of these updates, or these changes that are being committed, you may lose one day. The system will run down and everything will be lost. So individual software developers who are accustomed to work with a capable version control system in their teams typically recognize the incredible value of version control. Also give them even a solo project. So it gives them even a solo project, which will be very, very, very important. So once accustomed to a powerful benefit of version control system, many software developers wouldn't consider working without it, even non-software projects. So you might, as a software engineer, a software developer, you must get abreast with a version control system, because your success may one day be determined by your version control system, because anything can happen, but things that may it's bound to happen. To have a bug in your code is something that is likely to happen. So you must have a software that is keeping track of these things. So version control is just a system that helps us. So if you have a software, the only thing, you are a software team. Being a software team, it's not necessarily being one of the benefits that version control also gives, is that it's not necessary to be in one place, like to be in one geographical area to work as a team. So you can be in different countries working on the same software project. So you just have to have a server repository, and someone is in a country to just work, give its copy and commit the copy to the server repository. Another person writes a code, a source code, and commit to the same server repository. Another person too. So that's it. It can be scattered across the whole world, but once you have a server repository with a version control system, everything becomes simple. So once you are done with the code, the only thing you do is to commit it to the server repository, and it can be run as a single program. The version control system is very key in a software developer's life. It's very, 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 very key in a software developer's life. Okay, so I've been talking, is the key. So what are some benefits? Of this version control? I've talked about so many. Yes, explaining it just gives them the benefits, but let me hammer it the most. So it helps. One of the benefits of version control, that it helps in maintaining and protecting the source code. It helps in maintaining and protecting the source code of any software that a group is working on. So as a team and you are working together, the version control system that you work with will help to protect your source code, that anything that happens, you are safe. You can still get back on track. So it keeps track. Another benefit is that it keeps track of all the modifications made to the code. Yes, as I said, it is a team working together. It may be a team that is working together, and you may happen to be in different countries all over the world. So the version control keeps track of all the modifications that will be made to the code. Version control will keep track of every single modification, every single commit that anybody will commit will be stored in the database. That will keep track of it. And comparing earlier versions. Another benefit is comparing earlier versions of the code. So with version control system, it will help you to be able to compare earlier versions. So if successfully you are able to update your system, you can compare the system with a previous version, your current version with the previous version, and that also helps in debugging, because if you are trying to update and it happens that update has a bug which is causing it not to run, comparing it with the previous version that is working is the best or one of the fastest solution to get through the update to fix the bug. So working with a bug, it is very key to have a version control system that will give you track or keep track of your previous version, that you just have to compare the previous version and try to see the modifications that are conflicting, which is resulting in the code not running. So version control system is very important, very important, and it supports developers flow work and do not have a rigid way of working. So one of the benefits of version control system is that it supports the workers flow work, and it does not have any rigid rigid way of working. As I said, we can be at different places, but we'll be working on the same software. So you may be using a different platform or different means to write your code or anything, but at the end, version control system that you're using will have a flexible platform that can help all of us. That's why the diversity in our way of working, we will end up achieving the same goal, or we end up being able to cause an update or an effect on the main projects that we are all working on. So version control system is very important to a software developer. Very important. Okay, so let's talk about some of the version control systems that we have, examples of. Let's talk about few examples of the version control system we have. Yes, so the examples. So one of the examples is GitHub. GitHub is one. We have GitLab. We have Perforce. We also have Beanstalk. We have AWS Code Commit. We also have Apache Subversion. We have Team Foundations Server. Yeah, we have a lot. We have the big buckets and many. We have concurrent version control tools there. Yes, so those are just a few among the many. So as a software engineer, software developer, or software team, you need a version control system to keep track and to maintain your software program. So thank you very much for staying tuned up to this time. I'm very grateful. Subscribe, like, and comment. Once again, I'm Tutu Mawufemor. Thank you.